I love it. All right. Well, Luka Nation, this is gonna be a fun episode. We're gonna be talking all things breaking, and what's cool about today's episode is Cage and I have done a few breaks for you guys. One was a Marvel box that a lot of you guys that are listening have participated in, and afterwards we got quite a few DMs saying, "Hey, why don't you guys consider going on the Loupe app?" Right? It's so much easier to do breaks there. It's so much easier to get paid there, and you don't have to deal with all these logistics and all the headaches. So today we have a very special guest. His name's Eric. He's the CEO of Loupe, and we're going to be talking a ton of things about the hobby. Welcome to the show, Eric. What's going on, man?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, man. Tell us a little bit about your background. So, like, I know you worked on the Xbox project at Microsoft, which is super cool. You're a SUNY grad, right? I think that's right up the alley of Cage over here in New York City. So, tell us your background and how you found yourself.
SUNY is the city. SUNY is state. SUNY is he's probably an upstate guy. What's SUNY?
Yeah. So SUNY is the State University of New York. It's a whole network of public New York schools. So I have an engineering degree from.
Which one, Eric? Which one? Come on. There's a hierarchy in them. Do I get to make fun of you or not? That's what I'm asking. Like, did you go to SUNY Potsdam or one of the ones that nobody even applies to, or?
Alfred State.
I like Alfred State actually. That's like a hidden gem. That one. They got a nice campus. It's like I like Alfred State actually. That's good stuff. And engineering there too. Hell yeah. So listen, we love having you on, but we're not here to talk about your college because I don't want to hear about the drunken dorm room parties and I don't want to hear about what you did to those sorority girls. What we want to hear is how you're revolutionizing the industry, man. This is the deal, right? And breaking, I got to tell you, right? So breaking is one of those things you're either in or you're not, right? You can't be half in, right? You can't you can't dive in part way, right? You're either in it or you're not. And I'll tell you, we got half in it.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, the logistics of it is a nightmare, especially with somebody like me that's not doing it every day, right? You open up a box and then it's like, the price point, it's really much better if you break it down by team, but then you got 30 people paying $6 and I'm trying to track it and I'm an old man, Eric. So like I'm tracking it on like a legal pad, my pencils are breaking, I don't even know how to spell Google. Somebody told me use a Google worksheet. I don't even know what the hell that is. It sounded dirty, but so obviously what you have done here, and then I'll let you talk because I want to talk about your product. I want to talk about what it does. But what you have done is Andrew says this pretty often, and it's really right. I think it's aping a Gary Vee statement, basically, of in the gold rush, the people who got the richest were the people who were selling the pickaxes and the gold pans and the people who were allowing people to pan for the gold. Not necessarily the people who got the gold. Trust me, some people who got the gold will get rich, but it's the people who built the infrastructure up that supported them that actually made the real money. And it sounds like that's what you're doing. It sounds like that's your area.
Yeah, and like you touched on, my background is at Xbox. So a lot of my specialty is just removing friction in systems and making sure that people can get from point A to point B to point C as easy as possible, as fast as possible. And that's both for sellers and buyers of sports cards, whether the sellers are doing breaks or they're selling singles, whatever it is, that we make it easy for them. And a lot of that comes from me getting back into the hobby. Excuse me, I was a huge collector when I was a kid, had a lapse, came back into it in adulthood. And I was looking around Instagram and realized that, there's a ton of these accounts, and I don't know who any of these people are. They're all going live and doing these breaks, which I thought was super fascinating. So I ultimately bought into a personal break from a local card shop when I lived in LA. And it was so much fun and it was entertaining, but I had to leave and go to PayPal and send money. And then I'd come back and tell him that I paid and who I was. And it was this awkward back and forth that had really nothing to do with the fact that I was buying cards. It was just admin process. So I took a step back and went, hey, if I'm going to go all in on this hobby, why don't I look at, on top of buying way too many cards, how about I bring something to it that's different and makes it easier for people? And that's ultimately what Loupe is. And we just offer a super easy streaming solution where you can list your cards for sale in the live stream, and then everyone pays in 1 or 2 taps. And we process everything on our side, and then we do a payout the next day to all the sellers. We handle all the receipts. We send the shipping info. Again, it's like end to end. We're just trying to like simplify the whole process. And we're like 5 months in, and it's been going great. We have plenty more features on the way.
Eric, you guys got you received funding in January from Nat Turner and a crew of people there, and it was $3 million. And like you mentioned, you're a 5-month-old company. Tell us, how do you plan to use that? What features are you planning to add to Loupe, or how do you guys see yourselves kind of taking over the market?
He's got a purple Lambo that he just bought. He put Loupe on the door. That's where the first bit of the money went to.
Cage, your favorite color is purple.
Just on a Lambo. Just on a Lambo.
You called me. You said I'm a purple wave. Yeah. The other day you told another guest that. Anyway, yes, I won't derail.
You're a purple wave. You're a purple wave. That's your insert. But there's reasons why you're purple. Lots of reasons. Your love for
so congratulations on. Congratulations on the round of funding. Nat Turner's a very intelligent man. So yeah, I'm curious, Eric.
7 minutes in, it's already going off the rails. I love it. So
Eric, that's a record. It usually takes me like 3 minutes. So consider yourself lucky.
Nice. So yeah, we raised, we did some angel investments early on just to get out the door in October. And then like you said, in late December, early January, we got funding from Upfront Ventures in LA, and Nat Turner as well was in that round, who obviously everyone knows now for PSA on top of his super impressive card collection. We're using that money to scale the team and build features as fast as possible. We've been completely overwhelmed by the response of just people downloading and buying and wanting to sell on the platform too. Like, I have hundreds of people sitting in my inbox right now trying to get on Loupe, and I'm like, yes, please just give us time. We're scaling. Android comes out this month because we were able to hire a dedicated Android developer. We're hiring 2 other roles to just help scale the business. And the features that you're going to see more dedicated breaking features. So how do we handle the purchasing of spots or randomization in the app itself, so you don't have to like go do that elsewhere? And then also, right now we're working with businesses, and we have to look at how do we step back and allow, somebody that just has like a high-end single card, how do they come in and sell it versus taking that to eBay? And we obviously offer a lot better accountability, I would say, than eBay, and how we manage payments as well as vetting people and making sure they're not going to rip you off. So those are really the big things that are going to be coming over the next couple months.
So you'll have a marketplace there for raw cards that people just want to sell. So it could be kind of adjacent to the breaking.
Yeah. So a lot of people see us as a breaking app, but we're a full hobby app. So from education of cards, anticipating what cards are coming out, who's streaming, to watching live streams. And live streams can be breaks. Live streams can also be somebody with 20 high-end cards, and you're like, here's a PSA 9 Michael Jordan, who wants to buy it. I
love that you went there, because I love the content side of it. And I bet a lot of people don't even realize like the entertainment value of just sitting in and watching the break. So I love that you went there. Yeah,
when we have really big personal breaks, like last night we went LeBron hunting with 2003 SP Authentic and Upper Deck Glass. We had like record numbers of people just sitting there watching one person buy, I think it was like $14,000 worth of cards, just watching these boxes being opened, because like it's a big social event. And then obviously we're looking at how do we, right now it's very much live streaming, and companies that we're working with, store owners, etc. But how do we take someone who just has like 5 cards they want to sell? They don't know if they'll ever sell again, but they want to sell these 5. How do we bring them into the app and allow them to do so? And we're looking at that very seriously.
Cage, if someone gave you any box in the world to break of cards,
did you eat the box?
What wax would you want to break? And same question for you, Eric. Is there one product, one wax that you want to break?
This is Eric's spot. Go for it, man. What's the one box you'd break?
Money is no issue. Money is no issue here.
Is it Exquisite, the one that came in the big wooden box? I think that's the one I would want to do purely because I've never seen one in person before. Like anything that comes outside of a normal cardboard box kind of blows me away. So I would want to see that in person.
And was Cage, was there just one card in the exquisite box? So it's like it's like a jackpot. You either hit or you don't.
I don't even know, man. I don't even know what was in the wooden ones. I have no idea. I don't know if it was one card, multiple cards. I have no idea. But it's funny, right? Because you'd have to do like a mathematical analysis on that, right? If you got a sealed box, like I would think, what's the most valuable card you could hit in the world, right? So I try to say like the Honus Wagner, right? But what, I'm gonna open one pack of tobacco? Half those don't have anything in it, So that's not a break I really want to do, And then if I do open it up, I'm gonna get some, Mordecai Brown or something. I'm not getting the one you want. Listen, I don't know, man. I would tell you, if I had to break a box or something, maybe 52 tops. Just for the sheer, like, there's Mantles in there and like all those guys. I'm a baseball vintage guy at heart, right? For money wise, I don't know, those sealed 48 Bowmans, 48 Leaf. Some of those, you talk about just scarcity. Some of the coolest breaks I've watched, though, 86 Fleer, they're obviously not, they're hundreds of thousands of dollars, but that's cool stuff too, because everybody wants to pull a nice Michael Jordan rookie.
That was going to be my backup as 86 Flair.
Everybody loves it.
Probably my third choice would be like OG Pokemon, just because, it's just one of those weird products now that's blowing up.
So you mentioned that you would have like it's Loupe is a full service hobby platform. If we just talk about selling cards on that, right? So one of the big things with eBay is the return policy, right? And there's companies like StarStock that do instant ownership transfer. And I'd love to hear your take on NFTs as well. We could save that to the end because you do come from the gaming space. How would you also handle that, right? Like the returns, the handoffs. Someone ripped the wax, they got a beautiful card, but then it arrived in the mail differently in a different condition than the buyer expected. How would you guys go about handling that, right?
So right now, all sellers are vetted by us. They have to be registered as a business. Everything is on paper. There's no like fly-by-night sellers on Loupe. And for now, everything's on live video. So you see it pulled, it's immediately sleeved, and it's shipped out. Tracking number is dropped in the app, so you can look at your purchase history and see exactly if the package has been shipped, where it is, if it's been delivered. On high-end product, obviously, we look at insurance and all of that. And there's, we're early, so we're fairly flexible on it, but generally our terms are 2 days, 2 to 3 days. So if you get it and you wait a week or 30 days to say, hey, I want a refund on this, like, no, like you waited too long. Like you should know within the day or two, 48 hours, if that is what you ordered and what you wanted and it came in the condition, because you can't be breaking wax for somebody and then have them after the fact go, well, I didn't get the card I wanted, so let me get a refund on that. Like, that's not how we work. And if they do try to pull that, like, they don't need to buy on Loupe anymore. Like, we can prevent them from making purchases. So they're not pulling that on us or new sellers. And the same would happen with the basically what we call peer-to-peer selling. We have some mechanisms in place that we're going to enable. So it's, I think eBay is getting better on making you validate who you are, but there's still so much. Like I sold a Kobe card that was maybe like $150. It wasn't anything huge, but on day 30, so the person got it, but day 30 after I sold it, he went, oh, well, I don't want this card. And he tried to get a refund. And I had photos and I looked and I was 99% sure he had another card that he was trying to send back to me that wasn't in as good condition. And eBay gave me like zero leverage as a seller to do anything. Ultimately, I just took the loss on it. But that's not a position I want to put anybody selling through our platform. So
how do you fix it?
How do you fix it?
How do you fix it?
Well, what does eBay do if somebody does that?
Nothing.
Yeah. So if, let's say somebody does that, we would have a much more restricted return policy. If let's say he comes back 30 days, we'd be like, well, sorry, like why did you
So is
wait
it
so
20
long?
days? Is it 10 days? Is it 5 days? Is this something that's just like in beta now? It's not actually being done yet, or
It's 3 days.
so it's 3 days. You have a 3-day return policy, but that is
I
just for
believe-
breaking, or is
I
this
said
for?
too early? But I said too early, but I think it's technically 3 days.
Is that just right now for cards that are broken in live breaks and they send them back, or this is for peer-to-peer selling? Like I go on right now, I'm a seller, you vetted me, and I sell a PSA 10 Luka Prism, and a person gets it, and day 4 they look at it and they say, hey, I don't really want this anymore because they found one cheaper. They come back to you and they say, hey, you know, there's a little scratch on the case. It's day 4. You're going to tell them, nope, Loupe policy is you have 3 days to return this, your SOL.
Well, there's a difference between policy and what I do as CEO. So if it's a first-time buyer, if it's a high-end product and somebody comes in and says that, if they're buying high-end product, I'm going to go like, well, this is potentially a very good buyer on the platform. So I would facilitate communication with the seller and say, hey, if we do a refund, would you want this card back and want to resell it? And again, we're looking long-term value of our sellers and our buyers. So we're going to facilitate as much as we can. But again, if I think at any point that buyer is trying to pull one over on us, or they're like repeatedly doing this, then we would just remove their ability to buy from the platform altogether. Like that's not someone that we need going out and buying from everybody and trying to pull this for each one individually.
So how sustainable is that for you, Eric, as the CEO of a company? You're basically a Facebook mod now, where you're going to be the arbiter of, the buyer's trying to pull one over. No, the seller pulled one over. I imagine that with the millions of dollars that have come in from funding, that you don't want to have a Facebook group. You want to have a legitimate business that has way too many of those deals going on for you to have to sit there and be Judge Dredd about. So is it going to be a team? Is it going to be something that's just, automated? I'll tell you why I asked, right? Because you struck a nerve with me. I don't know if you can tell. I don't sell on eBay anymore. And I sold on eBay from 1996. Like when I started on eBay, man, I was taking money orders. It was before PayPal. Like I was taking money orders and waiting for checks to clear for 30 days before I sent out my Princess Diana Beanie Babies to people. You know what I mean? Like, forget about it. Like I was on for a long time. And I'm the power seller.
Darius Slayton ended it all for him.
Slayton ended it all.
Darius Slayton was the end of it.
July last year, I sold a card. And look, people try to do scams, you name it, and it's fine. But my workaround doesn't work either, because I sell through consigners. And this week alone, I got the consigners telling me you got all these cards coming back. They're all being returned. Why? Well, because I have a return policy. You can return within 30 days. They don't have to give me a reason. But I know why, because I sold it higher 3 weeks ago. And now 3 weeks later, they can get it cheaper. So they're returning it and they're going to buy the same thing cheaper. So, and eBay doesn't say.
So I think there's basically like 4 things that we do and are doing over time that will address this. And let's see, I said 4. Let me see if I remember all 4. Now
that's all right. If you say 3, that's fine. If you say 5,
I think there's a technology play for sure. So you're looking at AI-powered fraud. You're looking at cards that are used. You're looking at a lot of things around the cart, the individual that's buying that's supplemental outside of your actual platform. And there's a lot of technologies that can do that. You're looking at policies, which I already touched on, like what are our publicly stated policies? How firm are we on them, depending on the individual and the sale, but like that's on us. There's the team, obviously, like there will be a support team that helps address this as we scale. And the last one is just community in general. So you're looking at it, and it's totally fair that you're looking at eBay. Like it's very easy to go into eBay with absolutely no commitment to the platform and just cause chaos. And even as a seller, like it's able to do that. And at some point, you'll eventually get caught and removed from the service. But the difference with Loupe, and again, we're looking at education, anticipation, community, there's reputation, there's a whole profile, there's the public profile and what we see on the back end of your profile, there's tracking all of your purchases, how you interact with sellers, like there's all of that. And if you come in and maybe, and again, this is something we need to look at scale, is maybe when you come in as a brand new user, we restrict how much you can actually buy. And then you have to earn the right. And as you earn the right, you're building out your profile, you're building out your community and your collection. And there's a there's not just a monetary buy-in, there's actually like, how do you bring value to the rest of the community on the app?
I like it.
You're
I
not
like it.
operating in a vacuum on like
Right.
a lot of these other marketplaces.
Listen, as long as you have the backdrop, the infrastructure, the team, the support to actually build that out where community factors in, that's great. But I'm gonna tell you, Eric, you're coming into this and you drove the hobby. It's the weirdest time in the hobby's history, right? Because you got pumpers and you got crazy people on the internet pumping stuff up. But here's the thing that's different now. Because everything's so damn expensive. And because it's not $12 cards anymore, right? You got people making returns who have 1,500, 2,000 feedback on eBay. These are people who have perfect feedback records for 1,000 years. You got people in Facebook groups. I was on Clubhouse the other day, and the Facebook group was going crazy about how this person, came on and they said, "Hey, I'll sell this card. It's $85,000." And someone said, "Okay, I accept. I'll take the card for $85,000. Deal. Tell me where to put the PayPal." And then, of course, they were like, "Oh, I didn't mean to. That wasn't my real price. I really want 105 for it." And it's guys who are like legit in the hobby for a long time with big cards. And it's weird because I don't know why it is, right? But the dollar signs, they make people act differently, right? So I'm curious to see. I have all the faith in the world in you, Eric. Trust me, you're a Sunni guy. But beyond that, right? It's if you're really going to take some new technology to it, some behind the scenes algorithm mixed with a community and what this person does, and more than just a feedback score or whatever it may be, then maybe you'll be onto something. But it's a scary proposition with what's going on.
Yeah, and I say this about every single business, every startup. Like, you learn when you go. It takes one person to mess it up, and then you're like, oh, now we know what to look for. Like, I think there's a lot of value in, as a seller, if you could look at a buyer's profile and see like, oh, they've done 4 returns in the last month. Maybe I don't want to sell to them. And we give the seller the option to make that decision. Like, even that brings like a level of awareness that you probably wouldn't have elsewhere.
From just, so I don't actually, so I have a very gambling compulsive personality. So I keep a distance between breaking and myself. But I love your 3-day policy, because when I started in the hobby about a year ago, I did most of my buying on Mercari. And Mercari has, after 3 days, they track the shipment. The API knows that it was delivered. You have 3 days as the buyer to confirm the order. Once it's confirmed, done deal, everything done. And you leave reviews, the review for the seller, review for the buyer. But a lot of people who are bad buyers get blocked by sellers. So you can't buy. I think a big issue in the hobby right now is even as Cage said, those 1,000 review accounts, they know that they could create another account. They could go on Facebook groups and buy. They could go on Instagram and buy. There's no accountability, I think, in the hobby for poor behavior. I think that's, if anything, that's what I've noticed.
Yeah, and there's so many different things you can do, and it's kind of frustrating because, like, I know that we're very early. We have big aspirations. I feel like we have pretty good plans moving forward. We're definitely going to learn. But even like Grubhub. So like, I have a Grubhub account, and they emailed me one day on another email, and they were like, "Hey, get this awesome deal." I think it was Grubhub or DoorDash.
Yep.
And I went in, and I tried to play with it and like get the deal on a new account, but they detected that I used the same card as the other account. And they went, "No, you're not eligible. We see that you already have something with our system." And I went, if it's really that easy, why does every other platform have an issue with this? And they were so protective of me getting 20% off a $30 meal, yet some platforms deal in thousands in transactions and they don't even make that enforcement.
I love that. That's the product. That's the engineer in you. You notice those nuances and those details.
Well, the engineer in him is going to have to balance out the angel investor in the next round of funding, where some of those companies as startups, it's more important to them to get the user base increasing over time, and then to actually get true numbers of unique identifiable users. So Grubhub right now, they're probably not looking to increase their user base. Maybe they've put some technology into making sure that nobody's taking advantage of them on their coupons. They've gotten to that phase. But in the beginning, they probably weren't looking at that. They probably said, "I don't care if you sign up 8 times. We can show our initial round of investors that we've now doubled in size." So you'll have to balance that out, Eric. I can't wait to watch.
Eric,
'Cause
the truth is Cage is upset he hasn't gotten a pack at Top Shot for a long time, and he's losing to those 8-account bots.
It's
See,
true.
there's
It's
always
true.
the hidden
Dude, it's
meaning,
true.
right?
It's definitely, that's totally true. Because I know people who got packs this past damn weekend, and they're making money on it because they have 8 emails signed up, and I didn't. I put my one in, and I was 138,000th in line,
Yeah.
and I didn't get shit. And yeah, I'm pissed. But yes, it would be great because Eric, I'm glad to hear a business person actually say it. It's not that hard, right? If you want to figure it out, you can figure it out.
Yeah, and I'll give Top Shot credit. I mean, for as fast as they went from, hey, there are bots literally just hammering our system to get packs as fast as possible, to them switching to a lottery form. It doesn't solve everything, but at least it feels more fair than it did before, where you're just like mashing the button, hoping that you can get in. But yeah, I think every marketplace moving forward is going to have to account for bare minimum bots, and then second, how do you try to limit number of accounts per user? It's only going to get worse from here.
I'm curious what your thoughts are on Top Shot, and I ask from this angle, right? So you worked at Microsoft. It's Seattle has that Silicon Valley tech UI UX vibe.
Yeah.
The hobby historically does not have a UI or UX vibe at all. I don't even think Cage even knew what UI UX was. I think Top Shot has done an amazing.
I looked it up because this is like the 11th time he said it, so I felt stupid like the first seven.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal, in my opinion, at least.
What's X and UI? Ux and UI? What is he talking about?
Well, it makes it UX is user experience and UI is user interface, but it's a big deal because people are lazy. People drop off very quickly. And if there's any friction, people are like, I'll just go and use something else. And I think what Top Shot's done really well is a baby could learn it in like 5 minutes how to use it. And I'm curious, you from a product guy, what are your thoughts on NFTs and Top Shot? Top Shot first, NFTs second.
Yeah, and I need to preface this with the fact that I like NFTs as an idea. So what I'm saying is from the point of view of like a tech consultant. So please, there are people who like, they hear the first little piece of criticism and they're like, he hates it. And they want to send nasty.
No, and I appreciate that. You're absolutely right. The lens you view something through is super important, right? As a customer, you view something differently than as an investor, than as a product guy, than as a tech consultant. So yeah, I appreciate it.
So with that context, I'm safe giving criticism. I think NFTs are very, very early. I think Top Shot is the first one that's really stood out to me as interesting because they've gamified it in a unique way with a thing that translates to what people, if you just said Top Shot is digital trading cards to the person who had no idea what NFTs are, they would at least go, okay, I kind of understand what that is. Like you open packs and get a thing. Now explaining the difference between buying a loot box in a video game where they can print infinite number of any item as much as they want to just keep making money versus something that's NFT based where they can say like, this is a finite number, you will get no more than this. And each one becomes valuable because of the restricted rare, like arbitrary rarity of it, then it's different. And that's, we see it all the time, like Darren Rovell or Gary Vee.
Boy, Darren.
They'll be talking about NFTs and someone's like, well, I have this GIF on my phone. Is that, no, like that's a bad faith argument. You're just trying to be a jerk on the
internet. It's a great point, Eric. And I'll go one step further, right? Because I'm a moron. But I did not understand blockchain and Bitcoin until after doing a week of research on Top Shot. So it's 100% right. It was like a nice, easy way to say, all right, well, I get it now. I get the scarcity of it. I get the artificial scarcity. I get it. And you're right. I probably would not have gotten into it if I didn't go into it thinking, oh, it's a digital sports card, but it's not. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not all it is.
Yeah, and I think Top Shot's the best one to date. I do worry. There's a lot of things they're dealing with as a young company. We're every young startup. I actually don't know how old they are, but it doesn't seem like super long. What I worry about is, let's say a pack comes out, you have 200,000 people who are just rushing. What percentage of that 200,000 are people who are buying with the sole intent to immediately flip that for a profit? And what percentage are people who are long on NFT and Top Shot who are trying to scoop up all of that quick resale and then hold long-term or hold for a couple months and then flip for more money? And it happens so quick that I worry that it's, it's like a lot of growing in things, it balloons, it doesn't fully pop, but then it like deflates and settles a little bit. So I think overall, it's good to be bullish on it. I don't think the level of engagement that it's at today is sustainable because, they're already restricting how much you can buy. You can't withdraw money, or it's very difficult to withdraw money. And as those things, all of that friction starts to expand and they start growing the number of Top Shots, I think you're going to see that a chunk of that 20,000 or, they're going to leave and go, okay, I got my immediate couple $100s or a few $1,000s in sales. I'm moving on to the next thing that can make me money. So it's going to be really interesting, but long-term, I'm huge on NFT as it applies to utility. So if Fortnite, who right now is printing infinite number of costumes, said there's only 1,000 of these costumes and they're all tied to NFT, and then you sell it, or they sell it to a player, and then that player could go technically sell it anywhere, but then Fortnite gets like 5% of future transactions, and it's like locked to very specific accounts. That to me is super interesting, where once it has utility, then I think that value actually goes up exponentially.
Is there a possibility of something like this where, so they're printing a ton of skins now, but also they have a limited NFT, there's still going to be thousands in circulation, but the first 1,000 printed are an NFT? Or does there have to be some discrepancy between?
No, I think you're right. There's like a limited version, maybe it's a slightly different color, or numbered version, if we're talking like cards, and then there would be a mainstream at scale version.
Yep.
And everyone could be like, hey, I got the bunny suit, but this guy that spent 1,000 has like the exclusive rare color one.
And I think that makes the exclusive rare one even more rare and valuable when you see how many people are out there have it, but this one's a rare. So yeah.
Yeah, I do wonder, and I think it's an interesting thought experiment that we'll never get an answer to, but it's when you have the Mona Lisa is like near priceless, if not priceless. And
that's how I think a cage lawyer.
They buy posters of the Mona Lisa for $10 or whatever. And everyone knows what the Mona Lisa is. And the real one, or the real ones, have huge value. And I wonder if let's say there's a really beautiful like Kobe animated video that's on NFT. I forget, not very many exist. And I wonder if in the future somebody made a really big deal about that, and like, I'm auctioning off this Kobe NFT digital image, and then Reddit is always Reddit trolls in whatever group decided, hey, we want to mess this up, and they flooded the market with exact GIFs and videos, the free versions, non-NFT versions, into the market everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, and they were just putting that image everywhere. Would that potentially degrade the value of the NFT version that's being sold, or would it increase the value of it being sold by being now this like ubiquitous thing? And I think we're probably a couple years out from seeing that, but it's going to be really interesting. Like social experiments like that around digital goods, like, make me really excited. It's just like weird behaviors that people do.
I love that we talked about, I'm excited about NFT's utility, and the example being used for the utility, which an old man like me, utility is like that man's belt, which has a grappling hook that's going to save you from dying, right? Yeah. It's got like, shark repellent that's going to save you from dying. But the example we gave, advanced degrees here, was a limited edition Blue Bunny suit on a video game. That's the utility. So it's a brave new world, folks. It is a brave new world. And people are going to pay $1,000 for the limited bunny suit in the Fortnite game. I personally have never played Fortnite before, so I know there's a knight involved in it in some way. I think he delivers Bud Light in commercials. or something. I don't know what
There
goes
was
on there.
there was a piece of digital art that I think sold today for like $60 million. So
Yeah, Beeple.
it's big, yeah.
Yep, and a CryptoPunk sold for $7.5 million last night. But what's funny about that is I understand it, right? And that allowed me to understand Bitcoin. Because at first I was like, what? Why Bitcoin? Why is someone gonna pay that money for it? But now I get it, right? And Bitcoin at 55 grand or whatever it is seems cheap when a Beeple is $60 million or a CryptoPunk, which is like an 8-bit avatar that people want to pay to have, on their Twitter picture. It becomes the new blue check, is millions of dollars. It's just crazy, but at least I understand it. To me, it's weird. But remember, when I went to college, there wasn't the internet. So the world has changed a little bit, So.
Age, but the big difference of Bitcoin is a $1 trillion asset. A Beeple, whatever, even that the
give
one
them
that sold
time
this morning is a $65 million asset.
Give
the big
people time.
difference is Bitcoin is divisible, right?
Yes.
Where the NFT isn't necessarily divisible. I'm curious, Eric, what do you collect? What do you like to collect?
Sports cards, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, hockey, baseball, football.
I see. So I collect a lot of Kyle Lewis baseball cards. Looking for.
Let's go.
Is that because you knew him when you were in Seattle? Is it because he dated your sister? There are not many people who collect Kyle Lewis now.
So I'm just I'm a fan in general of Seattle. I lived there for. I have this Seattle tattoo. So watching a player come up like him into the Mariners system, and I have 2 of his Gold Wave auto of 50 cards. I want to collect as many of those as I can. They're just a beautiful card. I collect modern wrestling, which is kind of my special little thing because I don't know many other people that do. And I'm starting to get into hockey, but it's interesting because I'm not a big hockey fan. I'll watch it, but I know barely anything about the sport. But now that I'm getting into high-end hockey cards, and mostly because somebody on our app sells hockey almost exclusively, and I'm supporting him and trying to learn about it, I'm going, oh, well, now that I'm learning the players and the teams, I can go watch the sport. And that's getting me into it because I actually live pretty close to the Panthers stadium here in Florida. So, and I could probably walk there and watch a game at this point.
It's great. Not a lot of hockey, modern wrestling, and Kyle Lewis collectors out there. It's a nice mix. We only laughed about the Kyle Lewis thing because before he even played a game, that was one of my first picks when we started this podcast up, right? Right when baseball, I was like, this guy's going to win the Rookie of the Year. And literally nobody else said that. So that was one of my fun, get him up for a buck now, before he wins the Rookie of the Year. And he won the Rookie of the Year. So he holds a special place in my heart. Also, I have a PSA sub that's in assembly right now that I sent in the second week of the baseball season last year. And it's filled with Kyle Lewis Topps rookie cards. So I'm hoping to get 60 PSA 10s back for this season. We'll see. We'll see how long PSA takes. Maybe you can talk to Nat. I'll tell you the order number.
Yeah, and I think I didn't mention it, but another set I'm really big on is the Nike did a 6-card set with Michael Jordan and Spike Lee, and it came in a little cardboard case. I don't know if I have it. It's just this little cardboard case, has 6 cards in it. Every box has the same 6 cards. And I love them. I think they're just the weirdest little card. They have a different form factor than a normal baseball card or a basketball card. So I'm actually, because you mentioned PSA, it made me think of that. I have 3 dozen of those cards going in. I like weird things.
I love it. What would you?
It's okay to like weird things. That's how I wound up with Andrew.
Well, we'll wrap with this. First, could you tell people where they can find Loupe and, maybe give them a quick kind of the next 30, 60 days, what to expect from the company, the business and all that. And then we'll wrap.
Yeah. So if you search Loupe, Loupe on the iOS App Store, our app is the top result. Android is coming out, should be in about 2 weeks. Same thing, search for it in the App Store. For updates, you can go to Loupe the app on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We post all the time, loupetheapp.com. We try to keep it pretty consistent. If you search for that, you'll find us. And 30 to 60 days, like I said, Android app's coming out soon. We're adding some more robust breaking features for group and team breaks. We're looking at marketplace. We're adding some new features around our videos. So that's another thing we didn't touch on is we save all the videos of all streams. So you'll be able to go in your purchase history, tap on it, and it will actually take you to the video so you can go and look at the break. And eventually we want to get to a point where you can export clips and screenshots directly to your social from that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we have like 4 pages of roadmap features. So what we look like today is going to be very different than what we look like at the national and what we look at, a year to 2 years out.
Beautiful. So we'll have you back in a few months to talk about Loupe 2.0 and all the adjustments that you've been made and fun stories about how you dealt with those fraudulent buyers trying to return shit. That makes me happy. That'll make me happy to hear.
What makes me happy, Cage? So we've done about
I don't
200.
know. I've been trying to figure it out for a long time.
We've done like 245 episodes here, and I think if memory serves me right, I might be forgetting one other guest. It's been all business people. It's been all investors. It's been money. Eric's a product guy, right? You kind of get a different vibe from product guys. Product guys, they want to change the world. They're creative. They pay attention to these design nuances, and it's enlightening to see and hear from people getting into the hobby that, I don't think we talked about money at all today. It wasn't about how much can we buy and sell a card for. It was all experiential, building a community. And I think that's really cool. I think, Cage, when you grow up during Mickey Mantle's time, like that was what it was about, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when I was towards the beginning of Mickey's career and Babe Ruth was just finishing, when I was a kid. But yeah, no, seriously, it is all about the community. And that's what's going to be the difference between who survives and who doesn't. Because everybody's coming in, everybody's getting funding, everybody's getting money. Hell, we're turning down funding from people we have the greatest podcast on earth and we don't want to take any money from anybody. But the thing is, we're building a community. And I love that Eric said that because that community will help with the business too, right? Because they'll weed out the problem people. You know what I mean? They'll be like, don't deal with that guy. And the community is what's going to give them their best ideas. And if they actually listen to that community and say, hey guys, here's some feedback. Here's what you do to change. I'm sure that's probably where they got the, hey, you should have the videos of this break stuff from because people want to post clips of that stuff. So if you listen to your community and you build a product, you're going to have a better product because of that. So I love it. I mean, it's 100%, Andrew. I love it.
Eric, last question. Seattle to Miami. How's that cross-country move been?
I've actually lived in all 4 corners of the U.S. I grew up near Buffalo, went to Seattle to work at Xbox, went to LA to work at a gaming startup for 5 years, and then I moved to Florida. So I went from most possible snow you could probably get to areas where they hardly get any snow. And it's been great. And obviously when COVID is less of an issue, I'm going to go to so many sports games down here. We'll see who gets my love, Tampa Bay or Miami.
Miami. Go with Miami.
We got a good friend in Tampa, Bro Namath, so I'm going to go Tampa.
It's tough to be a Tampa person now because Tampa just won, man. You can't I don't like when people call me a bandwagon, man.
That's fair. So, that's fair. I definitely don't want to come off as a bandwagon fan.
But Cage, they have Gasparilla. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, I used to drink sarsaparilla when I went to the Wild West. When I was a gunslinger back in the 1800s. Sarsaparilla. It was good. It was a drink. Is that who you're talking about? No,
it's a festival in Tampa. People have a good time. They drink.
I thought it was the root beer.
They move their body.
No, I don't move my body. Look at me.
I am aware. And not recently.
I move for nobody.
Eric, I don't know if you've listened to our podcast before. We hope.
No, if he did, he wouldn't have come on. Like,
number one, we want to add value to our audience, and I think we do a good job at that. And I think there's a ton of value and a ton of little nuances here within this episode. But we also want to have fun and banter, so we try to bring both of it.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, Loupe. Everybody, go check it out. Loupe.
Appreciate it.
Eric, thank you very much, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
Take care.